Um, so in my hotbox, I have a little bit of a journey here. I kind of started a journalism career kind of late. I was already like almost 30 and had a kid, but I got pretty successful in Los Angeles, and I was writing a lot of, I thought really interesting cover stories for the LA Weekly. I'd go stay in a weird motel and talk to the residents, or I'd hang out at a cop bar, or I'd interview an heiress who then was run over on the beach because she was homeless. Just like things that I thought were textured and interesting. And I was like, I thought I was pretty banging. Things were pretty good. And I found this book. And it was a book called Sahara Unveiled by a writer named William Langewiesche. He was a staff writer at The Atlantic. And I read this book and I was like, oh my God, like, I want to do this. I want to get close to at least how he's able to tell a story. In this case, it was just about sort of the vastness of the desert, but like taking the lens out and then bringing the lens in and talking to people and making things tiny and then telling small tragedies and then these sort of epiphanic moments. And I thought I was just bowled over. So I went and found another book of his, which was called Inside the Sky. So he was also a pilot. His father was had written a pretty famous book called Stick and Rudder. His name was Wolfgang Langewiesche. And William had also been a pilot, and when he was like putting himself through school at Stanford, he would like make money being a pilot, and then he was just writing all these stories. And his backstory was that he wrote a few stories and sent them to the Atlantic and said maybe these would be good for you, and he wound up getting hired. Okay, so before I left LA, I saw that he was coming to Los Angeles to read from his new book, which was, I believe it was American Ground, the unbuilding of the World Trade Center. When the World Trade Centers went down, of course, nobody could get there. They didn't let journalists on, but he got himself there and he stayed there and he wrote the book about what it was like to have been there and the unbuilding of the buildings. So this man is taking these vast subjects, but he's bringing them to you in ways that were he's just a tremendous writer and he can make them like understandable. So I went to this reading. I'm like, I am meeting this guy. I have to meet this guy. I have to. And somehow my need was such that I insinuated myself into him. And there's this other Atlantic writer. We all went out for drinks. Okay. I moved to Portland. I see he has another book coming out called The Atomic Bazaar. And it was about how people are getting a little bit scared of, can you smuggle an atomic bomb in a suitcase? And I said to my editor, I was still writing for the LA Weekly, I was like, I need to meet him and write about him. I have to do it. And he's like, sure, you can write a review of the book, email, blah, blah, blah. So I do. So we meet, we hang out, I get the interview, and I'm so enamored of him. I don't think I've ever had this reaction to another writer ever. I mean, I love my writer friends. I think they're great, but this was something different. He also happened to be very handsome, which didn't hurt. So we finished the interview and he turns around and looks at me and he goes, do you want to meet later tonight? I was like, yes, I do. So we come back, we go to a bar, we sit there, we drink like 3 drinks each, which is enough drinks to start, really, really talking. Like I thought, I don't know what it is, the connection with this guy. Like we like each other. He was a little irascible. He was funny. I was a little older than me, 6 years older than me. I just really liked the guy a lot. I loved his books, everything I read. He was like my North Star. And we left and had a nice little kiss goodnight. And then we stayed in touch a little bit. Nothing to write home about, but enough that it was nice. And then, we stayed in touch a little bit over the years.
Where was the kiss?
Oh, in front of the restaurant.
That's not what I was asking.
Not that kind of kiss. Just a nice, like, I like you. And this is a nice thing. And I really just enjoy it. Stayed a little bit in touch, not very much. Hadn't seen him or talked to him at all in many years. But I moved to New York in 2018. And I knew he lived here. And, he's married and got kids, remarried and all this. It's nothing like that. Just like let me just reel this back a little to what I began with. His writing, as much as any writing, even Didion was the person that I said, I want to do this. I want to push myself to be able to write like, not like this, but the sort of like what the delivery system would be. And I did that with To the Bridge. Like I accomplished the book I wanted to do. And I actually made sure that I quoted from one of his books in the first one, Sahara Unveiled, because I just needed this moment because it was so poignant and so concentrated. Anyway, I really wanted to run into New York. I could picture it. It's like we're just going to run into each other like on Fifth Avenue or 37th Street or something and just stand there and have a really nice conversation. And then a couple of days ago, I read that he died at 70 of prostate cancer. And I was at the airport in Los Angeles coming back from, doing the kind of shoe leather reporting that he certainly did on a huge, giant scale, right? I'm just doing my little protest shit here. And I really felt sad. And I got on the plane and I really wanted to cry. And I was like, let me watch Saving Private Ryan, because that will just give me all the license of the world to sit here and just cry. And I did. And I went online and I, just went on Twitter a little bit and wrote a few things. And then I said, let me see who else is talking about him right now. And who was it? It was Caitlin Flanagan, and it was Jack Schaefer, and it was Armin Rosen from Tablet, and it was other people. And so I wrote a DM to all of us, and I said, dudes, I see we're all talking about this guy. Why don't we get together and have a drink? And Jack Schaefer's like, let's do it. So we're sometime when we're all in DC, we're going to do that.
Nice.
But if I could take a moment and tell people, if you have not read William Langewiesche, go do it. He is one of the titans, and just such a cool guy. I guess in the obit in the Times, they called him the Steve McQueen of journalists. And I went yesterday because I've read almost all his books. There's one I haven't read, an early book, but I wanted to see if he had narrated any of them, and he did narrate one of them, and it's great. And it's called sorry, I should know this because I've read it 3 times, The Outlaw Sea, and it's all stories about the sea. Again, another giant topic that he's going to bring to you. So I'm listening to that now on audio in order to sort of like hear his voice again and hear the way he tells stories. So William, thank you. Such a pleasure to know you, even though it was only a little bit. And thank you for the pushing that your writing made me give myself. So